Welcome to the Rockabye Revenue Podcast with me, Abby Watson. I'm a mum of 4 and a business strategist, and I train people to become hypnobirthing teachers. In the last decade, I've built a thriving baby business that grew beyond my wildest dreams. This podcast is for you if you run a business or dream of running a business in the birth and baby industry. You want to change lives whilst making more money. I'm talking about creating sustainable income whilst being present for the people that matter most. I believe for our baby businesses to have the impact we desire, we must be rewarded. On this podcast, expect me to share actionable strategies without the jargon. I've been where you are. I've built a business while raising 4 little ones, and now I'm here to help you turn your passion into profit while creating the life you've always dreamed of. So let's get started. Hello, lovely one. I hope you are well. I am super excited to talk about this today. This episode is full of strategy. This episode is going to change how you run your free sessions or low-cost sessions that are designed to convert people to your actual paid thing. So I'm going to be giving you 5 steps to make this happen. Okay, now this is for you if you haven't yet run sessions like this, and it's for you if you already do, but you want a bit of help making them convert more, getting more paid clients at the end of these sessions. Okay, so I hope you are ready. Now, what are we talking about by these free tasters, masterclasses, sessions, etc.? Well, we're talking about something that you offer in your business that is designed to attract those people who are potential clients, that are potential customers, but actually they need to know a little bit more first. They want to try it a bit first, you know? So if you're a hypnobirthing teacher, that might look like offering a free taster session or a masterclass in having a calm birth, for example. If you're a baby massage instructor, it might be running a free session, you know? If you're a sleep consultant, it might be some kind of trial or masterclass helping them understand more about your services. Now, when I say offering it for free, I would also include in this bracket low cost things, okay? So it might not be for free. It might be that you offer this session for, I don't know, a £5, for example, you know, and you know offering it that way means that people have a bit of skin in the game, yet cost is unlikely to be the factor that means they can't come along, you know? So that's what I'm talking about. Now, in my business, as a hypnobirthing teacher trainer, I have, of course, done my time for many, many years as a hypnobirthing teacher, and running taster sessions was a big way that I got clients, and I know it is for other hypnobirthing teachers too. And I really think for a service like hypnobirthing, tasters or masterclasses are a super way of getting clients, because let's face it, there are so many misconceptions about what hypnobirthing is, who it's for, etc. So running an hour's session, for example, can help those kind of like skeptics, those people who are not too sure, actually really grasp it and see that, oh, actually, it's not as weird as I thought. Actually, I think this could be for me. And perhaps you're not a hypnobirthing teacher. Perhaps you listen to this podcast and you offer some other types of service. Now, I'm sure that is true for your work too, that there are many objections when it comes to people booking your service, and those might be completely invisible objections. So you might be a sleep consultant, for example, and you know that people are hesitant of booking your services because they think you are going to be like Super Nanny, what's she called, Joe Frost. They think that you are going to come in like Joe Frost and criticise what you are already doing, what they are already doing. Okay, so by having this session with you, and maybe it's in a group, they're actually seeing with their own eyes, experiencing that is not what you are about. As well as this, as business owners, and particularly as service owners, where we are the ones that are working so closely with our clients, okay, building that trust, allowing people to get to know us a little bit, to get to know what we offer, is so valuable. And taster sessions or free masterclasses or whatever you call it is a super way of doing that. As well as that, it's a way of getting in front of more people. If you're new in your industry, you're new to business, one of the difficulties is that when you start out, you haven't got that kind of like group of past clients that are going to be singing your praises. By running taster sessions, by running freebies or low cost things, you are ultimately getting in front of more people, making more connections, making more people aware that your services exist. So even if they come to your session and they're not in a position to book, actually, if their friend is talking to them over coffee about how they need hypnobirthing, whose name's going to be on the tip of their tongue? Okay, so it's a great way of building that awareness. Okay, now running taster sessions, running these sessions is fab, and you want to make sure that they are a valuable use of your time and your energy. You want to be making sure you are doing all you can to turn those people that come along, that attend, into actual paying clients, because ultimately that's where they're going to benefit the most. Yes, they're going to get a bit of a sample in this taster, but actually by taking the plunge and, taking you up on your offer, that's where you are going to be able to support them better, and you are going to be able to ultimately change their life, change their experience, enhance their life in some way. Okay. So today I've put together 5 steps to make that happen, because it's not just a case of scheduling a free taster, planning what you're going to say, and hope that people book at the end. There are other steps that can really maximise this being really successful and having those people saying, yes, I absolutely want to do the full thing. Sign me up. Okay. So let's get started with step number 1. Step number 1 is all about the prep. So it's about you deciding, who do you want at these 3 events? Who is this going to be for? Now you might think, well, potential clients. Yeah, but let's be a little bit more specific. Is your actual service needing to be for a person that's at a particular stage of pregnancy or motherhood? It's really important that you think about that. One mistake that I've made when hosting tasters is not specifying that. So when I've actually run a taster, then seen that the majority of people that attended were actually 38 weeks plus pregnant, they're not going to be able to book my courses at the end of it, because no doubt they're going to be having already given birth by the time my next group course is. So thinking about what stage of pregnancy or what stage of parenthood you need them to be at, okay, and specifying that when you advertise this session. So it might be saying something as simple as, this is for you if you are between 12 weeks and 35 weeks of pregnancy. You might even make that a smaller window, okay? So specifying. Also, even though this is a free thing, it will take preparation. As in, you are still going to need to promote it frequently. Just because it's free doesn't mean people are just going to suddenly swarm and book. You are still going to have to show them why this is going to be great for them. Okay. So writing free taster book here is unlikely to be enough. You're going to have to show them what they'll gain even from this free sample. You know? Let's face it, these days there's free samples everywhere and our time is precious, you know, so we're only going to sign up to something that we feel like we need, so we've got to communicate that to them. So if we take the example of hypnobirthing, which I know very well, we probably don't just want to put free hypnobirthing taster, sign up if you are between these weeks of pregnancy. Perhaps instead we say, in this hour you will, okay, showing them what they will gain from attending. What we also want to be aware of is that we do still want them to know that this is simply a little bit of your full offering. We don't want them to sign up thinking they're getting a free full hypnobirthing course. We want to make it clear to them that actually this is a bit of a sample. They're still going to benefit. They're absolutely going to leave with tips and an understanding, but there's so much else they can gain. Okay, so making that clear when you prepare, when you work on attracting those people to your free thing. Okay. Step number 2 is the step that many baby business owners forget about. And this is the warm-up. Okay, so you've got the people signed up. You've got this list of email addresses of those people that are going to come along, but then you simply send them a message saying, a reminder of the event. Okay, I've been there and I've done that, and I tell you what happens when you do that. The amount of people that actually turn up is going to be a lot lower than potentially the number of people that could turn up. So you warm them up. They've seen this advert for this wonderful free or low cost event. They've been like, yep, I want to come to that. You need to be constantly reminding them of why they've done a good thing in signing up for this. Okay, I hope you can't hear my stomach rumbling. It's going wild. I don't know how strong my mic is, but if it is picking up my rumbles, I do apologise. I'm definitely hungry. So what was I saying? Yes. So you want to be warming them up. You want them to be receiving a few things from you in the meantime, because that is going to allow them to be really aware that it's important they turn up. And by that, I don't mean constant reminders saying, you signed up for this, remember it's on this date. Don't do that. Instead, be like, I'm so excited that you signed up for XYZ. I wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. Yeah? Tell them a little bit about you. Okay. I'm so excited to meet you on XYZ Day. I recently had a client that came to me because she blah de blah de blah. And this is what happened. Yeah? I'm so glad you've signed up to this event. Okay. I know you want to know more about birth. Let me tell you something that you might not know. Yeah? So you are allowing them to get to know you before they've actually shown up. And again, it's showing them that actually you are the real deal and they need to turn up. Okay. Step number 3 is the actual session. And this is where most people are like, oh my gosh, what am I actually going to include in this session? Now, if you are a Love Your Birth graduate or student, please know in our resource hub, there is a session plan for a taster session that you can use or you can be inspired by. Okay, so you have definitely got a really strong starting point. Okay. Now, let me just tell you this though. Actually, what you talk about in your session is less important than the other things to make sure you include. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Okay. My advice to you is to really focus on less is more. Okay. So in your taster session that might be an hour, it could be tempting to tell them most things that you cover on your actual course and try and squeeze a whole course into an hour. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Instead, pick 1 or 2 bits that are really going to help them get it. Not get how to have an amazing birth, but to get why hypnobirthing or whatever it is that you offer is going to make such a difference to them. So if we take the example of hypnobirthing, I would really suggest including something that shows them the science of it, shows them why their mindset is going to have an actual impact on how their body responds to childbirth. So that might be talking about the fear, tension, pain cycle, or it might be talking about hormones or how other mammals birth. Okay. So really thinking about one element of your course, or maybe even 2. Okay. Think about something that they can experience when they're there. Maybe it's teaching them one technique. Yeah? So they're leaving with something that is going to be so useful to them, but you are making it clear that this is simply one of many tools that they get when they do a full course with you. So you are constantly reminding them through that session that this is one of many. You're making it clear that this is a small part of the bigger, incredible service that you offer. Okay. So that's what I'd say in terms of content. Now, I'm not stopping there because I've got a few more tips for you for this session. Okay. Yes, you want to think about what you're talking about. Yeah. Okay. There's a couple more things that are so valuable when it comes to helping people make the decision that they want to book. The first one is telling a story that really shows the impact and the value of what you offer. So that might be a story of what your service did for you in your life, So for me, when I used to run taster sessions to promote my hypnobirthing courses, I did talk about the fact that once upon a time, I was a person that was absolutely terrified of giving birth. I watched every One Born Every Minute episode because I felt that it was preparing me, but it was actually terrifying me. And then I stumbled across hypnobirthing through a friend. Firstly thought, wow, she's turned into a weirdo. Because the word hypnobirthing just sounded like, I don't know, some kind of witchcraft. Read about it and was sold and did a course, and it changed everything for me. This petrified woman became this excited woman who wanted to absorb everything about childbirth. And I went on and had the most incredible birth. Wasn't perfect, definitely had a few twists and turns, but my goodness, I absolutely loved my birth. And you might be thinking, oh, but I haven't got a story like that. Okay. Well, maybe you know someone who has and you can share their story. Maybe you've worked with a client that has. Maybe, you came into your service because in your other career, you'd seen how people were impacted by services like this. Yeah? So tell a story that really shows the impact. Why am I saying tell a story? Stories stick, and stories make people relate. They listen to the bits and they really remember the bits that kind of apply to their life. So when I used to say, I was petrified of birth and actually watching every One Born Every Minute episode because I felt it was going to help, they might think, oh yeah, I'm doing that. I'm not watching every One Born Every Minute video, but I'm definitely going on Instagram and watching all the scary stuff that currently is in my newsfeed, So absolutely tell a story. And second important thing about this session element is building in ways of overcoming their objections. Okay. So think about those people coming. Okay. What potential objections might they have for actually booking your course at the end? Well, they might be thinking, oh, it's only if I'm having a birth a certain way. Oh, my birth partner's not going to be interested in this. And throughout your session, you mention those things and help them overcome them. Okay? So you don't say to them, let me list all the objections you might have and show you why you don't need to worry about those. No, you do it in a more natural way. So you might say, for example, oh my gosh, I was so worried that my husband would not attend with me because he's not into stuff like this. But actually, I did have to drag him along. But after that first hour of the session, he saw this was so logical. And I tell you what, most clients that I have taught are the same. Birth partners come as big skeptics and leave as the people actually spreading the word for me because they see the impact it's had. That whole objection of, oh, but it might, only be for if I'm having a home birth. Saying, please know, my clients have such a range of births. Hypnobirthing helps in all circumstances. Whether you're having a home birth, whether you're having a cesarean birth, whether you're having an induction of labour, tools to stay calm and feel more comfortable are always going to be super helpful. So you're weaving these, objection solutions in throughout, okay? You also want to be thinking about in your session how you are subtly letting them know you are a credible person. Of course you're a credible person. That's not what I meant. You are credible when it comes to the service that you offer, okay? So that might be that when you are introducing yourself, you talk about the fact that you are fully qualified. That might be that you talk about previous clients that you've worked with. Yes, we're not all going to have that, especially at the start. Okay. You might have something in your life that you've done previously that helps them see that you've got experience in this area. Okay. So you might have been someone that worked in a maternity ward. You know, I've had many years supporting new parents. Now, please don't freak out if you're like, but I haven't. I didn't either. So literally all I'd be talking about is the fact that I was fully trained and certified to teach hypnobirthing. Okay. And of course, later on down the line, I was able to talk about my past clients. Okay. Your credibility as well will come from showing up as that confident person. Even if, and this is the important bit, even if that's not what you're really feeling. Even if you're like, oh my gosh, doing this is so out of my comfort zone. If you want some tips on that, please go back to episode 34 of this podcast where I talk about these confident hacks. Doing something for the first time, appearing confident, even if you are pooping your pants. Okay, because that certainty that you go in with will help people feel at ease. Okay. So let's go on to step 4. So you have done, okay, your session, okay. You need to think about the invitation, okay, the invitation to work with you, which of course will be part of your session, but it will also be part of what comes next, okay. So thinking about your invitation at the end, okay. Now I say at the end, I really think this should be built in throughout, not leaving it till the thing at the end that you're kind of scared of mentioning, you know. Building it in throughout, so perhaps you're saying when you're teaching them that technique, oh, I really do hope you come and do my full course because I've got so many more of these techniques to share with you. You know, you're planting that seed that you have this bigger thing and they're invited and you hope they do, you know. But then, of course, making that direct invitation, you know, letting them know what you offer, giving them clarity of what it is, how much it is, and really importantly, giving them a reason to act ASAP. Okay, this is what we're talking about with step number 4. You're giving them a reason to bite your hand off with the invitation. Okay, things that can be super useful at this point is mentioning your availability and how limited that might be. So perhaps you've got a group course next month and you're saying, you know, you've got 5 places on it and there's already been a booking. So you're saying there's only 4 places left at my next group course. Okay. Or maybe you don't offer courses in that format, like a group. Maybe it's one-on-one services you offer in your business. So maybe you're saying, okay, I've got 2 spaces to work with me starting in the next 6 weeks. Okay, so you're giving them a reason that they're like, okay, if we want this, we need to get in touch ASAP because there's other people at this session and she's got this much availability. Another thing that can work is a special kind of offer that is time limited. Okay, so that might be a discount. So it might be that you offer 10% off if they book within the next 24 hours or 48 hours. Or it might be that if they book within the next 48 hours, they also get a free gift. Yeah? So you think about a reason that is going to be useful to them that they need to get in there soon. I tell you why this is useful, okay? If we leave the invitation completely open-ended, this is what can happen. Life happens. We come out of something and we're like, yeah, I'm gonna book, and we get distracted by something else that goes on in life. I've been there. your clients will absolutely be there at times too. So if we give a reason for this to be something they need to decide on now, they avoid the distraction, the procrastination, and they're more likely to invest in themselves. Okay, I know that is true of me. When I'm booking things, I need that kind of nudge. Otherwise, I'm going to think about it too long, and actually I'm kind of wasting my time when I could be benefiting from that thing right now. Okay. And then step number 5 to a really successful taster masterclass, or whatever you're calling it, is this. Again, something that many business owners forget about. The follow-up. Okay. So at this point, you've prepared, you've advertised it, you've warmed them up, you've run your session, and then you have made them a great invitation. Please don't leave it there. Please don't say, see you later, get in touch if you want to book. Follow up. It is said that most sales in any industry happen on the follow-up, not right there and then. So what do I mean by that? Well, that means that you are checking in with them. You are reminding them of what you talked about, reminding them of the invitation. So if you have said, if you book in the next 48 hours, you get this. Make sure in that 48 hours, you are checking in and reminding them, okay? Because life happens, like we said earlier, okay? And that follow-up also adds to that building of trust and getting to know you even more. On that note, even after that deadline has ended, please do continue to follow up with them, because just because they didn't, bite your hand off for the special offer doesn't mean that they haven't got an intention to book on. It might be that actually the time isn't right to take the plunge. So you do want to be checking in a week, 2 weeks, a month. Do not miss out on this opportunity to help that potential client become a client. Follow up is where it's at. Okay. Now, if you are listening to this and being like, oh my gosh, Abby, I just wanted to run a taster. This feels like a lot of steps. Well, of course, you could keep it simple. But if actually you do follow these steps, you are so much more likely to get those paying clients. And please hear me when I say, you're doing this once and then you can rinse and repeat. Yes, you might want to tweak, but you're going to have all these steps in place that you can reutilize next time. So if you have done check-in emails, if you have done follow-ups, you can literally use the same ones next time you offer this event, And just think, you can subtly tweak them, make them even better. So you are creating an even better system to convert those people into paying clients. Okay. Now, I really hope this has been so useful. Now, as a quick overview, because I know some of you might be in your car, might be making tea, might be getting ready on a morning, and you might be like, loved that, but I'm like, oh my gosh, what did she even talk about? So let me just go through those 5 steps with you. Step number 1 is the preparation and actually attracting the people to come along. Really being specific about who it's for and why they should book. Number 2 is all about the warm-up. So having those ways of them getting to know you a bit more, reminding them of how fab this session is going to be so that they actually turn up. Number 3 is about the session itself, helping them overcome those objections and ideally having a story there that really shows them the power of them taking the plunge to do your full service. Okay. Number 4 is about the invitation. Inviting them, not shying away from the fact that the bigger thing you offer is going to have such an impact on their experience, on their life. So making that really clear, okay? And ideally, if you can, having a time-limited offer that makes them take the plunge ASAP. And then number 5 is all about the follow-up, okay? Don't just sit and wait twiddling your thumbs. Follow up with those people, okay? Check in with them. See how they found their session. Making that connection to help them take the plunge. Really hope this was useful. Please do me a favour. If you found this useful, please do leave me 5 stars. You don't even have to write any words. As much as I'd love you to, I really would, by the way. But do leave me a review because it really helps this podcast reach more and more people so that together we can make a massive difference to the lives of expectant parents and new parents. Have a great day, lovely one. Keep on changing lives. Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to Rockabye Revenue. I hope this episode has left you with some fresh ideas and bundles of motivation. If you enjoyed this episode, do make sure you click subscribe so you never miss an installment. And if you found this episode useful, I'd love you forever if you leave a 5-star review, helping this podcast reach the ears of more of the helpers in this world. And remember, keep changing lives. See you next time.